Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the annual MATAR conference on generative AI. We are delighted to gather students from the MATAR program at the Hebrew University for this unique event. This conference is dedicated to exploring the transformative potential of generative artificial intelligence within the MATAR program's interdisciplinary framework. Over the course of this event, you will delve into the cutting-edge field of generative AI, its underlying principles and its wide-ranging applications. Through illuminating presentations and insightful discussions led by esteemed experts. Some people are already giggling and they know why, and I know why, and they know. You will gain a comprehensive understanding of how generative AI can be harnessed in fields such as computer vision, natural language processing, data science, and more. Join us to engage in meaningful dialogue, collaborate with peers, and expand your knowledge at the forefront of generative AI within the context of the MATAR program. Now that doesn't sound like anything I would ever say. Almost all of you have studied with me. So of course that introduction was written by ChatGPT because that's the way we roll these days. I hope that was pretty obvious. But you are welcome, and you are MATAR students. I had to tell ChatGPT that that's what you are. And quite a lot of what I just read out is true. We will be hearing from industry experts. They're sitting here patiently waiting for me to finish. And we'll hear from an academic, a colleague from my department whom I'll introduce later on. And we'll hear from some of you guys as well, the students. And obviously nowadays you can't I sit on the bus and people are talking about generative AI, and you pick your kids up from school and that's the conversation outside the school gates. Everywhere you go, generative AI, this, ChatGPT, that. And a lot of the discourse around generative AI nowadays is either extremely utopian. Through generative AI, we will solve the climate crisis. We will solve everything that can be solved, or very dystopian. The robots are coming to take our jobs and kill us all, and we might design an AI to help deal with, let's say, the problem of obesity in the world, and the way that the AI will decide to do that is just by killing all the overweight people, right? Problem solved, but not quite in the way that we thought. And we know that this is, and I've talked about this to those of you who studied with me, we know that these are two common ways in which we understand technologies. We have great hopes or we have great fears. What I'd like to just mention is an aspect of generative AI that isn't normally mentioned, and it probably won't be mentioned once I hand over the microphone to Katrina, and that's because I'm a sociologist and I am interested in power relations, and I'm interested in the labor and of the production of many of the tools that we use. So one of the things that I've been finding interesting recently is to think about and read about the labor that we don't see that goes into making tools like ChatGPT, which, for instance, is the labor performed by Kenyan workers for less than $2 an hour who have to read the most disgusting things that people have written in Reddit so that those texts are marked as gross and don't get incorporated into the language model, so that when we ask ChatGPT a nice question about children, they don't come up with something absolutely obscene. It's very similar to the work done by content moderators to make sure that we don't see foul and gross images on Instagram, for instance. These also are underpaid workers, very usually from the global south. So that's a bit of a downer, isn't it? But Katrina asked me to open the evening, and this is what I know how to talk about, so that's just tough. But this is just one aspect of the production of these tools. I mean, I've said it, and now we'll probably move on to other things that may be more interesting to you. You certainly didn't come here to listen to me prattle on about all of this and power and exploitation. So, welcome one and all, and I will now hand over to Professor Katrina Liggett, head of the MATAR programme for really clever students in computer sciences and social sciences, or whatever you explain it to your grandmothers.